Hello everyone, in this video lesson I'll explain you that the price effect is equal to income effect plus substitution effect in case of giffen goods. So in the previous lesson I explained you the case of normal good, and today I'll explain you the giffen good case. So giffen goods are the basically type of goods that are worst quality or poor quality products, and such as like rotten fruit, rotten meat. These are the goods that are giffen goods, and giffen goods are positively related to the price. For example, if there is fall in price of the giffen good, then quantity demand for the giffen good will also decrease, right? So why does it happen? It happens because when price falls, it increases consumers purchasing power, and when consumers purchasing power is high, they will purchase normal good instead of giffen goods. So that's why the demand for giffen goods fall. And in case of like income, if income increases, then the demand for giffen good will also decrease, right? So they are negatively related to the income level and positively related to the price. Okay, so now we are going to take a certain assumptions, like we assume that x is a giffen good, right? So x is a giffen good and price of x falls, price of good x falls, right? So these are the two assumptions that we will take. And again, keep in mind, you have to keep in mind the basic key of the changes in budget line in case of income effect, price effect and substitution effect. So on x we have x good, and on y we have y good, and initially budget line is, let's say, AB. In case of income effect, if income increases, then budget line will shift rightward. So when two lines are parallel to each other, or at least there is shift on both axes, then it is called income effect. And if two lines are pivotal to each other like this, so for example this is a pivotal line, there is no change on y axis, but quantity on x changes, purchasing power on x changes. So this is price effect. And in case of substitution effect, there is a relative change, so there will be change on both axes. Like for example, if price of x falls, then budget line will move rightward, and at the same time budget line will move downward on y axis, and this is called substitution effect. So if you don't know these concepts, then you are advised to basically look into another video that is explaining all these shifts. And now I'm moving to the main concept, that is we have to prove that price effect is equal to income effect plus substitution effect in case of giffen goods, right? So we draw axis, and this is x good is a giffen good, right? So this is a giffen good, and we are assuming that its name is x. And on y axis we have another good, that is y good. What type of good it is, we are not basically concerned about that, we are taking it as a neutral good. So y good is a neutral good because we will not look into the impact of change in price on y good. And first of all, draw an initial budget line. So this is an initial budget line, let's say it's AB, and now if there is fall in price of x, we are assuming that there is fall in price of x. It is our basic assumption, and due to fall in price of x, if we look into the substitution effect, then consumer thinks that x is relatively cheaper than y, so budget line shifts like this, right? So this is called substitution effect, right? When two lines cross each other, it is substitution effect. On the other hand, if we look into the price effect considering the same budget line AB, then price effect will look like this. So this is price effect, right? So whenever we look into the price effect of fall in price of x, then consumer thinks that purchasing power for let me remove this line. If I remove this line, this is price effect that you can see on the screen. Initial budget line was AB, and due to fall in price of x, budget line will move from AB to BC on x axis, and it will remain the same on y axis. This is kind of price effect. So in case of price effect, you can see the key as well, there will be a pivotal shift. And again, considering the same budget line AB, So this budget line, red budget line that has shifted to the right, this budget line shows increase in purchasing power of the consumer. So as per the economists, if we want to bring the purchasing power to the previous level, then we will have to shift this budget line to the left and decrease consumers' money income. So that will form a substitution effect as well, and the new budget line will look like this, right? So when we draw budget line like this is basically substitution effect, right? So A, B and E, F are the two budget lines that cross each other, and the lines that cross each other, they show a substitution effect, and the lines that are parallel to each other, they show income effect. So in this graph, parallel lines are E, F and C, D, and substitution effect and price effect is when A, B and C, B, C lines are considered. Now you have to draw the equilibrium positions. Keep in mind, we have to draw equilibrium for substitution effect on these two lines that cross each other, and it remains the same irrespective of the type of goods. Let us say the initial equilibrium is at E1 and the subsequent equilibrium is at E2. So these two lines show substitution effect. So if we draw perpendicular, we will find an equilibrium quantity that consumer will purchase. Let us say it's 5 units, and on E1 we will look into another quantity. Let us say this quantity is 10 units, right? So from 5 to 10 is the substitution effect. If I write substitution effect here, then substitution effect is equal to 10 minus 5. So we basically deduct old quantity from the new quantity. So 10 minus 5 is equal to 5. So this is substitution effect. And then you have to draw like price effect as well. In case of price effect, keep in mind, if good is a normal good, then the new equilibrium takes place to the right hand side of both of these equilibriums. Like if the product is normal good, then equilibrium will take place at this point. If it is inferior good, then equilibrium will take place in between the substitution equilibrium of substitution effects. So here will be the a new equilibrium if it is an inferior good. So this is for inferior good, this is for normal good, and if the product is a giffen good, then equilibrium will take place to the left hand side of both of these equilibriums. That is like giffen goods, equilibrium will take place at GG. Since we are considering now giffen goods, so we will consider equilibrium GG. So let's make another equilibrium that is taking place at this point to the left hand side of all of the equilibriums. So this is E3 equilibrium. So when we draw perpendicular from E3 to x axis, we will find another quantity. Let's say this quantity is 3. So now we have found all of the equilibriums, including equilibrium for income, price and substitution effect. So next we can find out the income effect. Keep in mind, for income effect, two lines are parallel to each other. So you have to look into the two lines here that are parallel to each other. So which two lines are parallel to each other? For substitution effect was taking place on two equilibriums E1 and E2, right? And income effect is taking place on two budget lines that are showing equilibriums at E2 and E3. So in case of income effect, equilibriums are taking place at E2 and E3, the lines that are parallel to each other. Keep in mind, this is the important key that will help you out. So for income effect, the new quantity is 3 and the old quantity was 10. So we will deduct 10 from 3. So 3 minus 10 will give us minus 7. And now we have to find out the price effect. For price effect, for the time being, you can just stop the video and find out what will be the price effect, which equilibriums show the price effect. Then you can again play the video and look into the reason. So price effect takes place when two lines are pivotal to each other. So two lines that are pivotal to each other include like this AB and BC line, and AB line is forming equilibrium at E1 and BC line is forming equilibrium at E3. So E1 and E3 equilibriums are the equilibriums that are showing price effect. So in this case, the new quantity is 3 and the old quantity is 5. At E1 quantity is 5 and at E3 quantity is 3. So, 3 minus 5 will give us a price effect. So, 3 minus 5 is equal to minus 2. Now, just put the values of these effects into the basic equation, that is price effect is equal to income effect plus substitution effect. So, the value of price effect is minus 2. So, you can write minus 2 here, and income effect is minus 7. So, you can write minus 7 here, and then we have plus sign, substitution effect is equal to 5. So, minus 2 is equal to minus 7 plus 5 is equal to minus 2. So, minus 2 is equal to minus 2. So, this is the proof that price effect is equal to income effect plus substitution effect in case of giffen goods. Now, the last thing that you have to do is you have to form an equilibrium. For an equilibrium, showing an equilibrium, you have to draw indifference curve as well. For E3, like there is no confusion, you have to draw a simple IC curve like this, and let us say this is IC2, and you have to draw another IC curve that will form equilibrium with E1 and E2 for substitution effect, and we will draw a single IC curve that will form equilibrium at E1 initially, and then the same IC curve. So, just let me try to find this IC as refined as possible. So, this is the IC curve that will form tangency and equilibrium on both the curves. So, this is let us say IC1. So, one equilibrium is taking place at E1 and the other at E2, and this IC will remain the same because as per the economists, like especially the Slutsky one, when two lines are crossing each other, it means this new line is just an imaginary line. This one is an imaginary budget line that consumer imagines that his purchasing power has changed relatively between X and Y. Okay, so you have to form only draw only one IC curve, single IC curve, because consumer's total satisfaction remains the same along these both lines that are crossing each other. So, consumer will get the same satisfaction, let us say 100 units of satisfaction, then both equilibriums E1 and E2 will give the same level of satisfaction. So, we need, when the level of satisfaction is same, we need not to draw two IC curves. Single IC curve will represent equilibrium on both lines, and IC curve is a graph which shows different combinations of two products that give the same level of satisfaction, and all the points along the same IC curve give the same satisfaction, let us say 100 units of satisfaction, then all combinations will provide the same level of satisfaction. So, in case of substitution effect, total satisfaction of the consumer does not change because he purchases the substitute product and reduces the quantity of another substitute. So, he gets the same level of satisfaction. So, IC curve remains the same. Okay, but in on the higher budget line E3 equilibrium, we have to make another IC curve, that is IC2. Okay, so this is it for this class. Hope you understand that. If there is any confusion, you can write in the comment, and see you with the next video where I will draw a single graph that will show like changes in equilibrium in case of normal good, giffen good, and definitely the normal, giffen and inferior goods. So, see you soon, inshallah. Allah Hafiz.